All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy May the 4th. May the 4th to you if you are celebrating. Um, yeah, so Star Wars Day for many, including a lot of retailers. Um, the the hill that I usually die on this time of year is that to me, Star Wars Day is May the 25th. And because that's the day the movie came out. May the 4th is a pun and somebody ran with it. It's kind of like Valentine's Day now or something, but puns sell porgs apparently. But if you like dressing up, if you have a big event, if you cosplay, if you build Lego, if you watch movies, I'm happy that everybody's involved in the fandom. Happy May the 4th to you. Hello, Missy. Good morning. Otherwise, happy Sunday. If you're like more of a Star Trek fan, or a Farscape fan, or a Firefly fan, or a Babylon 5 fan, whatever. I'm just glad you're here. I hope that we can get this built today, and we'll see how it goes. So, we've got this ready to go. It's not a Lego purchase because this went on sale on Amazon. And then I think today, or May the 1st, it went on sale on Lego. So this is the home one set that was $80, and I couldn't see myself paying $80 for it. So I waited until it got down to about $55, and then I bought it. Still a little overpriced. I have a feeling we'll get through this build really quick. I feel like it's kind of small. So, but before we start, I've got a couple microfighters here that I got built. This one we got built last time. This one was the other one I was going to do. This is the Remora. This was Echo's ship when the Bad Batch kind of broke off and did their own thing. This was the ship that Echo commanded with some other clones to rescue clones from places, prisons, or find them kind of out and about. And so that was this ship. There's a couple pieces on here I want to replace, namely those two dark tan plates on the back. I want to get the new rounded 2x2 plates. Those look really cool. And then those rounded bricks on the back, those nougat bricks, I want those to be in gray. Other than that, it's pretty much done. So what I'm going to do is start doing collections of parts that I need. This was the Pirate Snub Fighter. And there's parts on here that I need. And instead of doing like an order per each microfighter, we'll do an order for all of them at once and see if we can get all those. The next one I'm going to do probably this weekend or this week shortly will be the one for Huyang, the Paladin class. Excuse me. And as well as the Fiend Fighter for Shinhati. So we'll get those done. That represents kind of the last of the figures that I have. For new microfighters, I have a couple for old ones, but they're for ones that somebody else has designed, so I may have to go back and redesign them. So that's what's going on there. I did get a new piece of technology for my powered situation. I got this, which works. I already checked it. This is pretty much the same thing that I had, but for whatever reason, it works better. And I don't know if it's because of the wiring or because I don't know. I'm not an electrician. I just know when I push the button, if it lights up. If it doesn't, it's not working. So this is basically some dummy batteries. See if I can get this out without ruining that cable. Is very slight. There we go. So this contraption is basically dummy battery, and then it just fills this with just, you're completing the circuit batteries. And then it connects to the, you have to be really careful because this will pinch. It'll connect to the leads in here, and then you've got basically an AC/DC power So I need to switch this to 9 volts. That was part of the problem. And I'll do that later. But this worked pretty well, even with it not being on 9 volts. So I'll switch that later. But yeah, this worked, which means I've got the other contraption that doesn't work available if anybody wants it. The company couldn't do a refund, but they're like, if you could find like a pure 3 amp plug, it would work great. So I may try to do that and see if I can use it for something, but you know, in terms of having this work, it works fine. Plus, this is something else I could use on other things. The specific battery box for this, the print that I got, only works in that box. But I now have a plug with dummy batteries that I can use in anything. So if I got a different, like a power function or a different Lego battery powered thing, I can use this. So that's pretty cool. And if I find that one plug, I can probably use it. So, all right. So this just says pull to open. We're gonna get started on this. Don't need that just yet. There's no gift with purchase or anything for this, and this is 500, almost 600 pieces. I have a feeling we'll get done with that within the hour, within the time allotted. If we get done early, I'll just jump over and do some design stuff with microfibers. So this is a MC80A Mon Calamari cruiser, Mon Calamari heavy cruiser. This is the first one of its line. So in the lore, this is the first one of its line, and it was considered the Home One class Calamari cruiser. So like you have the Paladin class or the Resurgent class or something. This is the Home One class. It just so happened that the first one was also named Home One. That's why this is, if you build more of these Mon Cal ships later. There's no stickers on this as far as I can tell. Nothing came out. These QR codes no longer give you points. You have to have an app. And when you, well, I guess they still give you points. You scan it, it opens up in your app, and then you have to go through some steps to register it. So that's disappointing. I don't like that. I don't like that Lego forces you to have an app to do stuff. But anyway. So let's get to building bag one. Here we go. 10 o'clock, a little after 10 o'clock. So yeah, this is a designed by the Mon Cal engineers. Home One is distinctive, blah, 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 blah. So basically, the Mon Calamari, when they joined, for a little bit of lore, if you weren't already aware, when they joined the Rebel Alliance, their ships were basically cruise liners and transports. And the reason they look bubbly is because they were built like as ocean vehicles, submarine type, but also space worthy, because it was a water planet populated by the Mon Cals and the, I'm gonna forget, I've already forgot who their rivals are. There's another species on that planet that aren't as nice as the Mon Calamari. Also hilarious that the fish-headed people are named the Mon Calamari. I guess you could consider their heads more squid-like. Anyway. So this has always been kind of one of my gripes at Lego for not building a Mon Cal ship. And when I'm done, maybe I'll bring out I had the Mon Cal microfighter based off this, the Home One based off this. Put them together. Oh look, I was just looking for this piece the other day. I don't have any of those. So this is a 40 years of Return of the Jedi. I think there'll probably be a little plaque at the end that we build for it. I cannot believe it's been 40 years since we saw Luke and Han and Leia blow up and Chewie and Lando and Wedge blow up the second Death Star. It doesn't feel like it's been 40 years, but it has. And we just had the 20-year anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. Is that 2005, really? In the theaters. So that's a big deal. So Home One was also one of those ships. Oh, so they look like this because they're basically they're highly customizable. All the blisters that you see around the sides are different components. No two ships are exactly alike. No two Mon Cal ships are exactly alike. So it's funny that they call them like a Home One class, but that's the only really one that looks like that. There are other ship types like the MC-75. Which was the Profundity, and then there was the that we saw at the Battle of Scarif. That was Admiral Radiss's ship. Then the MC-80 and the MC-80A. There were a couple of these at the Battle of Endor. One's got sort of wider wings on it. I think that's the MC-80B. But yeah, it's odd that they have model numbers and like types and names and stuff, given that they're so modular that no two ships are exactly the same. Oh, and this is pretty cool. So we've got, this also shows up, Home One apparently shows up in Ahsoka, because this that we're building here is Hera Syndulla, I believe. So all these little micro or midi scale ships put little things in the interior, like little, not Easter eggs, but I mean, they're little people and stuff. I don't know who this other person is. It's maybe a clone or an officer, a rebel officer. I don't know who the gray with the white top is supposed to be. So this is Hera and somebody and a table, like a hollow table. So they're planning something. This is the bridge. They're planning something. But I forget who is in there with Hera. I think just like a rebel officer. So like gray with a white helmet. It says it's Ahsoka, so maybe it's Ahsoka's gray outfit and her white. They both have tendril heads, but they're not the same species. Hera is a Twi'lek, and Ahsoka is a. I'm gonna get this wrong. It's like Grotto. I have to look that up because I don't want to be seen on Star Wars Day forgetting. Togruta, yeah, I was close. They've got Shaak Ti, same thing. They have like the horned tendrils, and the Twi'leks just have the single or the tendrils coming off the back. And this is pretty cool because there's a little bridge scene in here that will be covered up. So yeah, so Star Wars Day for most cosplayers, retailers, groups. Ooh, this in brown. I don't think I've got that one yet. So does anybody have plans for their Star Wars Day? You gonna watch any of the movies, or do your Lego groups have events or anything? I will say I tried to get our Lego group to have an event, but I could not get a hold of anybody who was running any kind of event. The only group that's kind of related to us that's doing anything is a Bricks and Minifigs down south that's doing like a bulk smash thing today, and they've got like discounts on some of their bulk items, maybe some figures. So I was gonna try to go down there today, but today is also actually this is the 4th day of Barks for Beers, and we're gonna go to a couple breweries and do Barks for Beers. So yeah, I was trying to do a find something that our group could do for Star Wars Day, and I couldn't land it this year. There's a store called Holocron, and I was talking to some of my other friends, and apparently the owners aren't like great people, but I'm like, okay. And one of them is going through like some major surgeries and stuff, so they're hard to get a hold of. But they never responded to me anyway, so I was like, okay, fine. Nothing for Free Comic Book Day, which was, I think, yesterday as well. So kind of frustrating. I know I'm trying to get my group to be involved in more stuff. I just can't get people to, present company excluded. I know, Missy, you and your mom will be at the library in Pflugerville in about a month, so that's cool. That usually brings out a good group of people. We had 4 or 5 people one time. I even had Izzy come out. You know Izzy. Izzy doesn't do anything. He doesn't build models. He just shows up to meetings pretty regularly, and that's it. Like, so to have him show up with, like, he had like a great ball contraption and stuff. I was like, wow, really? I never see you for anything. So yeah, trying to get more people involved. Shockingly got a few people to help a local art director do some stuff last minute, so that was cool. Oh, it's a little A-wing in the... I was like, what are we building? And then it didn't even click that was a little A-wing. That's pretty cool. So that's your hangar. Two of those on. 2 of these. I called that guy, so this was very much a last minute plea. And here's the thing. If you're going to email people and say, this is a time sensitive thing, and if I see that, I usually write back within hours, right? I'm not always checking my email, but I check my email quite a lot for this specific reason. So if you are on a time crunch and you email somebody and then that person doesn't hear back from you for like 2-3 days, and then you like panically say, hey, can we do this like on a phone call on a Friday, and the thing needs to be done Sunday? I don't know. I got kind of frustrated with it. I'm kind of like, dude, really? I mean, I know you're busy and everything, but if you're asking for help, be available if somebody wants to help you. Anywho, luckily they were able to get 2 or 3 of our group were able to go help. And I don't even know what they were doing. It was, I think this is supposed to be Chopper? Or maybe just like a, I don't know what that's supposed to be. What does this say? Oh, it's Admiral Akbar. He's in his weird little bridge thing. His little swivel chair. That makes sense. It's a trap. Admiral Akbar coordinating the rebel attack on the 2nd Death Star. So this has got a couple things, and they didn't mention the A-Wing at all. Oh, Green Squadron. There. I should look at these little star words. Every time I do a Star Wars thing, I think Beth is a Star Wars fan, but she's also a Arrested Development fan. And there's always the line from the mom, Jessica Walters, who's like, here's $20, go see a Star Wars. And it cracks me up every time I hear it. So there's your kind of bridge thing that you can see from the side. I think that's going to be covered up a little bit, but that'll be kind of fun to look at. I think the other MIDI scale ones had stuff in them too. I think the Falcon had like stuff in the cockpit and like 3PO around 3PO and R2 and Chewie around the game board. I think the Tantive V4 had R2 and Leia in it or something like that. So I like that they do that. It's pretty neat. Clever. So let's see. Star Wars came out May 25th, 1977. I was, at the time, I had not turned, let's see, 77. I had not turned 5 yet. I was 4 in 77. Or no, I was 3. I hadn't turned 4 yet. But my parents said that we went on opening day, but they also said they took me when I was 5 and I was able to sit by myself or something. And I was like, well, that means that you took me on the re-release, because I think later the next year they released it again, or they also let it run like really long over the summer. So I'm not really sure at what point I saw it, but my parents swear that they took me to see Star Wars when it opened. But again, I don't remember it. I was 4 or 5, and it doesn't matter if I was 5, 6, or 7. You start losing, the older I get, the more I lose the memories of childhood. But I think also even in your 20s, you're like, I don't know what I was doing when I was 3. I feel like there's a cleanse your brain does during puberty where it just kind of washes out a lot of stuff. Memories and things, not, how to walk, but yeah, and then that was kind of it. Like, I just loved everything about it. The toys, the action figures. I do remember that when the figures originally came out, they weren't ready for the movie yet. Precision Bricks, hello. How are you? Happy May the 4th. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for being here. What is your first Star Wars memory? What was the first movie you saw in theaters? That kind of thing. That's what I was just going over. The Kenner wasn't quite ready for the success that Star Wars was, and so they were the ones who were going to do the action figures. But by the time the movie came out and was a huge hit, they were not ready for production. So they had these things. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate that. They came out with these like placards, these cardboard things that you get in the mail that were like hold spots. They were like placeholders for when Kenner was going to sell the figures. And then you just get the figure. Like, you bought it ahead of time. It was like the first pre-order. And so I had that and then got a handful of figures. Not a Star Wars fan, but a Lego fan. I remember then, so I have a lot of Star Wars memories. Like, I remember being in the theater for Empire Strikes Back. I remember being in the theater for Return of the Jedi because it was a newish theater in Denver. And we were very excited to go to it. Star Wars Lego, I was working at a day trading firm, and I was doing what's called news reading. I was just looking at a Bloomberg terminal, and I had a microphone, and we had several satellite offices. And so anytime a good headline would come up, I would read it out loud. And so the traders could watch their prices, and they weren't just watching news, right? So they could kind of hear it and get to their thing. I'll give you a shout out, so you might be able to hit 1,000. Appreciate that. 1,000, I might do a giveaway. I have a couple extra botanicals that I was going to give away. So 1,000, we might do some games and whatnot. So appreciate that. So I was reading news, And I'm just going about my day, you know, Berkshire Hathaway's did this and Yahoo did that and quarterly earnings from this and the Dow has reached whatever percentage. And just this headline came up and it said, Lucasfilm has entered into a cooperative agreement with Lego Group Limited. And I just read it like it was any other line. And it took me a second. And I was like, and at the time I had moved from Colorado to Houston. And I had basically left everything behind except like my Lego. Like I brought my Lego with me and it just sat in tubs. And so I was still like trying to figure out how to get all my Lego back together. You know, I started a family, had a new job, but really didn't have time to build or anything. And so this headline hit and it like, oh, nice. I will go sub to you as well, and we'll boost each other up 2,000. Everybody go sub to Precision Bricks. So I remember reading the headline and going, wait, what? And just immediately like, I think I need the rest of the day off. And so went up and looked at all the news up and everything and just waited in anticipation. This was like 97, 98. So when Phantom Menace came out in 99, the sets were slowly coming out. And I got every single one of those early sets, like all the weird angular Phantom Menace sets and original trilogy sets. Like they were blocky, and like the Slave one was like 80 pieces, and it was like this big, and you know, just kind of a fun time because it was like this is what they had to build with. And since then, you know, now we've got super specialized pieces and the UCS sets and all that kind of stuff. So it was fun. And then I was able to kind of bring all my old sets back out. A lot of old Futron, some classic space, Space Police, UFOs, those kind of things. I brought them out, put them on display, and then eventually started breaking stuff down and building my own stuff. And now we're here. So the journey has been epic. If nothing, it has been epic. What's up, dog? Oh, you're sniffing stuff. So yeah, I can already tell this is gonna be the back end. This was really hard when I was doing the microfighter version of this. It was difficult to get the shape because it's an organic, bulbous, rounded shape. So when I was designing this originally in studio, there weren't a lot of like 5-6 years ago. There were some, but not a ton of rounded pieces. So it was really difficult to kind of get that shape. And so I think originally I built it 100% snot version. So it was like stacked. So all the studs were going this way. So I could get certain pieces to be like stacked on top. And so like Akbar is sitting on a stud like this because that's the only way to get him to set. I think I reworked it since then. I'll bring it back out. All right. It's there. That goes there. And we have a metric ton of extra pieces. I mean, these are all 1x1s, but you know, I could always use more of those. Trans tiles are always good. The rest of these are, you know, whatever. I got a million of these. The 1x1 lift arms are important. I don't have a ton of these, but they make good like small thrusters on small ships. So, hi Greg, how are you? Happy May the 4th. Sorry, I saw you pop in earlier and I didn't say hello to you. How are you doing? So aside from Lego, yesterday was kind of a big day because a friend of mine had a crawfish boil that we went to, and I ate 2 big trays full of crawfish, along with potatoes and corn and sausage. and had a lot of beer. And Beth does not like crawfish, so she ate some vegetables, plus everybody brought other things, veggie trays and pie, and somebody brought like bacon wrapped something. I forget what it was. Pickles. That went well with like brie bites. Beth brought some brie bites. So it was a good time. We were there for a while, and then the ladies came and picked me up, and we went immediately to the Austin FC game. And I was watching the Avalanche play the Stars in Game 7, and watching Austin FC play Minnesota. And they both lost, so that was fun. So the Avs losing in Game 7 is just kind of a blow, because now they're like historically the worst Game 7 team of all of NHL. And Austin FC losing because they just apparently are a terrible team. And so we continue to go to the games, and we continue to be a supporter section, but it's getting hard because it's not like they're losing last minute or a fluky goal or oh shucks, bad luck kind of thing. They're just not good. They aren't scoring. They do this possession thing where they just pass back and forth to each other and the back line forever, and you're like, ugh. And then they make a mistake, and the opposing team scores on them, so it's kind of frustrating. So then I get home, and I'm tired, and I'm probably dehydrated, and my feet hurt, and both my teams lost, so I'm kind of depressed, and I just could not sleep last night. So on top of it all, had a terrible night's sleep. But hopefully things will shape up today. We're going to go hang out with some friends, and it'll be good. Plus, it's Star Wars. All right. Cheers, Precision. Thank you for coming by. Happy Star Wars Day to you. Greg, we went and saw Sinners the other day. It was excellent. We cannot tell people enough about this movie. It was quite good. Beth was going to go see it again today, but she is not feeling good, so she's resting currently. Because as soon as I'm done here, we're going to go hang out with some friends. We're doing Barks for Beers. Barks for Beers, for those who aren't in Austin, Barks for Beers is put on by a company called Divine Canines, and they are a company that trains and provides support animals for people in need. They also rehabilitate special needs dogs too, like handicapped or whatever dogs. And so once a year for the full month of May, you can go to any participating brewery, and there's usually about 30 around Austin that are participating, and you spend $30, I think it is this year, maybe 35. I think they raised the prices a little bit. Ooh, this is a good piece. I've been waiting for these pieces to come out. I can see them in studio, and I haven't seen one in the wild yet, so that's pretty cool. You spend your $35 or $30, or it used to be 20. I think they've raised it a couple times. And you get a pint glass that's a commemorative, engraved, printed, whatever pint glass. Oh wait, I screwed that up. And these are impossible to get off. Dag nabbit. Oh, that wasn't too bad. I feel like Anna Kendrick with her 11 X's, 7. Oh, that's not too bad. And then you get something called a pause port, which is a piece of paper, a folded card, right, with a map on one side, and then on the back, a list of all the breweries. And every time you go to a brewery, they stamp your pause port, and you get a free beer, right? So for $30, you can go to 30 different breweries and get a free beer and a commemorative glass. Totally worth it. Like, you only have to go to like 5 or 6 places to make it worth it. Most breweries will have a limited selection, like you can't get their super expensive bourbon barrel aged What's going on here? The instructions confused me for a hot second. You can't get their super expensive, like $16 10-ounce pours or something, but you get a good, you know, they usually have, most will say it's whatever's on the menu, but then some will be like, these 3 or 4 are what's available. But still, you know, and then what you do is you go to a couple places, and I gotta remember to hit the bank and see if I can get some cash so I can tip. Because every year we forget to do this, where we get a drink for free basically, or pennies on the dollar, but I always forget to bring cash so I can tip. So I'm gonna try to remember to do that this time. But yeah, so then during the month, you pick a weekend or during the week and go to one of 30 places and get you a free beverage or a cheap drink. And I mean, it's all over Austin. There's a couple up here in Pflugerville within range. There's 4. And then there's a bunch downtown and a bunch south and a bunch to the west. And then there's some that are far west and far north. And those are kind of like special, we're going to get a whole group of people to go events kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to that. We're just going to get to, I think, 1 or 2 today. Because I think everybody's kind of tired, but we want to make sure to do it because we like doing it. And Beth doesn't drink beer, so what I'll do is I'll get 2, and then I usually use her passport to get a second beverage. So we'll see how that plays out today. Mission Impossible 8 on opening day. I still haven't seen, I'm going to go try to see Thunderbolts with my son this week, maybe. I have yet to see it. That's a good, I don't think I have too many of these slopes in this color. That's good to know that they're available. And I still haven't seen Captain America. I missed it in theater, so I'm going to wait till it comes out on streaming, where I don't have to pay for it, because I think right now you can get it on Prime for $20. You can own it for $20, or you can rent it for $20. So it's like, why do either of those? Besides owning it, it's like, well, you own the rights to play it through Amazon services. I'm sure, like, if Amazon goes away, you don't own anything. So better to just go buy the DVD if you're going to want to do that. Good use of these pieces. I like these too. The 2 wide of those. It's good to know that these are out, so you can do a 3 section. That's nice. That's nice. Also more of these. I need more of these because I use them all in my light tower. I needed one for a microfighter, and I was like, oh man, I used all of these for my tower. I went over to my tower and pulled one out. So I don't know what that's for. I guess it's a screen. I don't know what that gold thing is supposed to be for. I don't know if it was mentioned. Let's see if it was mentioned what that was for. Because sometimes they'll be like, this is for that, and there's nothing there. So I don't know what that's supposed to be. Some kind of screen. But whatever it is, we're covering it up. I do like the staggered gray of the tiles and the slopes to give it that sort of otherworldly look. Am I missing a piece here? Let's just keep going here and see. I don't see. There's 2. There's the tiles. There's those guys. There's these guys. There's those tiles. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. It's like, man. 40 years of building Lego. 45 years of building Lego. And I'm still like, they shorted me a piece. Where are my pieces? And you know how often that's happened? Like 2 times? I've had wrong pieces more than I've had missing pieces. And I've had wrong pieces like 3 times. So, and I don't know what PTSD I'm working under where I think that they're constantly shorting me pieces for some reason. It's not like it happens consistently. It's just so weird, the psychology of that. So yeah, gonna hook up the power to the model, make sure it works okay. I'm a little confused about how we're gonna set it up on the day. If there's just a giant group of tables that are pushed together to hold all of our panels, and no one seems to like want to. I mean, no one. Everybody has opinions about what they're gonna do with the power, but I don't. You know, run it off the side, run it underneath. If you run it underneath, it's gonna tip up your plate one way or the other. It's kind of weird. I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to build it to make it work. And it's complex enough to where I want it done before I get there, so I can just kind of hook it up. I don't want to have to roll up and be like rebuilding everything that day because we don't know what the power situation is going to be. But I guess live and learn. All right, that's super. I'm super happy with this. I don't know why, but I'm super happy with that. I'm not happy with, I think that's going to be pretty, like it's only being held on by 2 studs. So I'm hoping somehow that this will all clip together a little better because this doesn't feel like it's going to be all that stable. But here's your length. This is as big as it's going to get, which tracks with maybe the Corvette. It's not to scale, obviously. A Corvette would be like this. Maybe I don't have a piece that's appropriate. Not this big, but in reality, a Pirelli and Corvette is not very big. Probably about that big. A Nebulon B is probably about that big, right? So these are massive, massive ships. Oh, these tiles immediately go on and hold it in place, so that's good. To start working on the video game, I gave you a shout out, and the video might be 1 or 2 more weeks before it's done. Cool. That's cool, man. I appreciate that. We just have a light string in ours, so I'll push on the button and hope the battery lasts. That's kind of what I was trying to avoid is, well, I hope this battery lasts because it's moving so many things. Like if the battery goes off, it's just kind of sitting there. And I worked entirely too dang hard to get everything moving and looking good to not make it work. So if I have to use batteries, I'll use batteries, but that means digging. If it's on the edge, fine. I can get to it easy and I can replace the batteries. I may do a battery run where I buy just a stack of batteries and see how long it lasts. That way I have an idea of constant running and stuff like that. But if I can figure out, because everyone's like, just go through the plates in the bottom with your cable. I'm like, okay, into what? Are we drilling holes in tables? Like what? Then I have to run the cable underneath the base plate, which does this to the base plate. I don't know. Precision, what's your video about? Just started working on the video. Is it just a review video? Aha. Always good to get some of these tiles with the pips on them. I like those pieces a lot. Bag 3, making good time. We should have this finished by the top of the hour. So now that May 4th has come and will be gone within a few hours, and LEGO has released a bunch of stuff, is there any set that you guys want? Oh, I just got news about a new release. The 75428 Battle Droid with Stap. It's not UCS, but it looks like it's a big one, kind of akin to the other droids that we've been doing. So that's probably better like that. That looks pretty big. I might actually get that. I always thought the Stap with the Battle Droid was a really cool thing. One of the better things in the prequels. I really like speeders and small craft like that, so that's pretty rad. What's up, Scott? How's it going? And Exsidious Montessori, hello. I'm doing well, thank you. It has been a hot minute, Scott. Thank you for being here. We're doing the Mon Cal Cruiser, the home one. Are we 4? In sand blue. This isn't one that I usually see, so I'm glad to know that I can get those somewhere. And there's an extra. I know there's going to be an extra. May 4th, I scored a bunch. Pretty happy about it. Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I got nothing specifically on this day. This I ordered like a couple weeks ago or a week ago or more, just to have for today. But this has been out for a while. I just waited for the price to go down because this was not apparently an $80 set. This was more of a $50 set. But thank you for being here. We were talking about Star Wars memories or Lego Star Wars memories. Oh, here's one. Have you guys, who here has played the Lego Star Wars games? Oh, they're on the pab wall? Cool. I may have to make a trip. I do like me some cheese wedges in good colors. So yeah, Lego Star Wars games. Who's played? What's your favorite? When's the last time you played? All that good stuff. Trying to remember the first time I played it. It was on computer. I think I got it on computer, on PC. And I remember letting the youngest play it, and he was about 5. So I mean, that was about 15 years ago, 2010, something like that. And we had to curtail his computer usage. He would play it a lot. And he liked the Indiana Jones and the Marvel Lego ones as well. That came out later. But originally it was the Star Wars games. And... oh, that's no problem. Not a problem. So he would play it for a long time. We thought it was a long time. And then it was, hey, buddy, it's time for bed, or you've been on it for a half hour. It's time to kind of, you know, stop playing for a little bit. And he would go, no. And he'd throw this huge temper tantrum. And we're like, okay, well, you're grounded from, you're off this game forever now. And you're off computer time. Like, it just tweaked his brain so bad. It was like a laser pointer with a dog. Just broke his brain. Ooh, a PS2 game, Empire Strikes Back. Was it... I'm trying to think. Shadows of the Empire came out, and that was also a PC game. I don't know that I've ever got a console treatment. But yeah, PS2 might have been Empire Strikes Back, because I know there was a game that I played where there was a whole Hoth section where you had to take down walkers, but there was also like a lot of... Was it Empire Strikes Back, or was it just like Battlefront, like early Battlefront? You had to take out those weird walkers that were like small buses on legs, in a snow speeder. It's been a while. Oh, not extra. I have to use it here. So sad. Oh, where's that piece? Where is it? This is a good piece too. Don't have nearly enough of these. Look at that. Look at how nice bulbous. Perfect for calamari, Mon Cal ship construction. Nice big plates. You worry about plates warping. You can't really see it, but you can kind of see it. The more you stack smaller plates and then bigger plates, they tend to pull up on each other. The clutch power pulls up, so you tend to get this warp. In smaller sections, this is about as big as you want to go before it starts really being noticeable. The one thing I was able to do with that knowledge, knowing that the plates pulled things up, is to have, I did a very wide wingspan Air Force drone fighter, a Global Hawk. And its wingspan is like 76 studs, right? It's as big as this table. And I didn't do Technic because Technic would have sagged. The weight of it would have sagged. So I did plates, and it was a little heavier, but even with the plates that wide, as long as you put the longer plate on top, it'll pull it up. So the weight combined with the warping kept it perfectly level. And it was kind of an accident. Like I stumbled on it. I was like, oh, that works really well. So if you're building big things like that, you need it to be really straight. Just keep in mind, plates are your friends. Technic's good for a lot of things, but I think having some plates down there is a lot better. I think most games like that, yeah, you can choose Rebels or Imperial, Jedi or Sith. I'm sad because we have had another, like, C2, E2 came and gone, E3 came and gone, Days of Play, PlayStation came and went. I realized I said came and gone, which I love me a Malafor. No news on any new Battlefront game. I think Battlefront 2 is dead and gone. Or Battlefront 3, sorry. I would have loved Battlefront 3, but we're just going to get more multiplayer games and more mobile games and Star Wars Galaxies, yeah. I tried getting back into remembering how good the cutscenes were for, like, the Old Republic. I went back and tried to play them, and I was like, oh, these games are just not great. They're just very dated. And I went as far as I think I wanted to with TIE Fighter / TIE Fighter X-Wing. I may go back and play X-Wing Alliance because it got that total conversion treatment too. But it just seemed to be like the rebuilders, the remasterers of that game. I don't remember certain missions being as complicated or as finicky and time-based, and if you didn't get this exactly right, the whole mission was a failure, as it was this time. Like, I understand not getting a great score or missing a few ships here and there, but, like, you have to, if you don't do this one mission a certain way, this one ship flees and you don't even see it, and suddenly the mission's over. And they're like, failed. I'm like, why? What happened? And they're like, this one thing that happened that we didn't tell you about in the briefing. It totally just went sideways. I'm like, ugh. Don't know a lot about Star Wars. That's fine. Do you do? Are you more of a Lego person? I think you'd said that earlier. Somebody said that earlier. Not into Star Wars, but more into Lego. Something like that. I thought I saw that. Maybe I didn't. So I know a lot of people think that the addition of the Star Wars property, the Star Wars theme in Lego, saved Lego from going bankrupt. But I feel like that is incorrect. I feel like I've heard tell that Bionicle was the reason Lego survived, and Star Wars actually almost killed it because it was so expensive. Getting the property rights. Oh, okay, cool. Gotcha. Yeah, there were a lot of things going on in the late 90s, early 2000s that Lego was like, we are going to do this thing. And everyone's like, why? And it's like, because we need to make some money. And I know to this day, people are still wanting, like me with Battlefront, I have people want their Bionicle to come back. And I know nothing about Bionicle other than it has a rabid fan base. Just so passionate. And I think because now, looking back on it, Bionicle was very much not queer coded, but maybe neurospicy coded, like the idea of masks and changing who you are and what you want to be kind of thing. I think that spoke to a lot of people, especially later on as they grew up a little bit. Not knowing much of the story, I don't know anything other than that. So might do some research and ask around and find out. Yeah, I think the initial rush of Star Wars probably almost, like if they didn't have Bionicles, and then what came after that? They tried to do like Shima and I don't think it was quite time for Ninjago yet. I think Ninjago is a little later, but they were still doing themes. Like they were still doing some like Life on Mars theme. Friends hadn't quite hit yet. Elves hadn't quite hit yet. So they were still trying some stuff, but I know a lot of it didn't work really great. It started to look like rotisserie chicken. Oh, this is super satisfying. This piece right here. Wow. Wow. You put that Lego set together? Wow. I mean, look at that. That looks like an Airstream trailer. Like a little bitty Airstream trailer. Put a nano fig next to it. Beauty. And there's a little gap there, but when you see it from the side, so nice. This is actually like a nice kind of, how did they get it to be so curvy bit of building? So I'm pleased with this. I still don't think it would have been worth $80, but it's okay. So the latest talk on the LAN has been, there's been a lot of talk about how the tariffs are going to impact like bulk ordering and stuff like that. And I don't think anybody has really good ideas about what's going to happen. Mostly because a lot of what we get as a group from Lego is DDP, something about how if you are a direct seller, you pay for whatever ahead of time for the set for the buyer. So I think it's covered, but I think going forward that it might change at some point. Like, I think Lego is probably going to be looking at that differently. So we'll have to see what comes up. But I know it's freaking out some people. Oh, this is nice. Yeah, that's nice. That looks great. I'm super happy with that. I mean, there's kind of a line right here, kind of a seam, but I mean, that just looks, you can see it on the box too, but like having it in your hand and having that whole section kind of go on there like that, choice. Very, very, very good. Very excited about that. What else about Lego going on? We, like I said, there was the buildable giant stap droid or battle droid on a stap. They've got some more Ninjago coming out in June, more Minecraft, more Harry Potter. I'm still utterly flabbergasted that Lego still backs Harry Potter. They must have a license with Rowling for in perpetuity or something. She must have dirt on someone at Lego. I just don't understand that. The next Dream set looks pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It reminds me a little bit of M-Tron a little bit. The picture's hard to see. I haven't got a whole lot of Dream sets. I think it's a great line, and I wish it would do well. Oh, you know what set came out that looks really cool, or what they announced? The Sherlock Holmes, the Sherlock Holmes book set. I think that's great. I think we talked about this a little bit. It looks wonderful. I cannot wait to get that set. And I think it opens a whole... Did I put that piece on there already? Oh, I put it on the wrong spot. I was working on it. And what did I do with it? Yeah, right there. Okay. Like, phew. It opens up a lot of, I feel, opportunities for Lego to do other, like, fictional characters in books like that may only be in books. You could do, I mean, I know Hunger Games has also been a movie, but you could do Hunger Games, the book Hunger Games. You could do, what was the one I had the other day? I mean, you could do Poe. You could do, like, Telltale Heart or The Raven or something like that, short stories. You could do, like, I feel like it could, especially the style where it folds up into a thing that you put on a bookshelf. It's kind of like the modern art, or the art opening up kind of new things for Lego to do. I think that's wonderful. I can't wait to see what else they do with it. Hopefully this isn't a one-off, but we'll see. I do like that even within, you can't really see now because I covered it, but like they don't do 1x2 plates just to have them. They do a lot of rounded plates so that when you cover it up, it's like if you're going to have 1x2 rounded plates showing, just every 1x2 rounded plate. Everything is a 1x2 rounded plate. And it gives it that sort of organic quality. I really like that. So yeah, I won't say Star Wars got me back into Lego, but I will say that it allowed me kind of an excuse to bring my Lego back out. I already had a lot of my old late 80s, early 90s Futron, M-Tron stuff kind of on display in my house. Basically in the drawing / computer room where I'd play video games, and I had an art table set up and stuff. So I would have it all displayed in there. It wasn't in the wider house. But getting Star Wars kind of encouraged me to buy more and build more and eventually build my own stuff. Like, I hadn't built my own mocks since I was a kid. As a kid, that's all you do. We didn't call them mocks or anything. You just called it playing and building with Lego. I'm going to make this spaceship. I'm going to do this thing, right? You just kind of do whatever you wanted. And I hadn't really done that, but the later got into doing more Star Wars stuff, I'm like, well, this is really cool. I'm glad Lego did this. But I remember this one ship in this one book that I really want to do, so I'm going to build that. And so you would build, the Nebulon Ranger from the comic book, or you would build... They hadn't quite got around to building the Republic Y-Wing, the big, sleek, new one from Clone Wars yet, so I built that, And this is a good way to get an angle. A little finicky, but you put it on a clip and then you close it up like that. So it gives you a nice angle. I always forget about doing angles like that. That's a little sudden right there, but it's not too bad. A couple extra pieces onto bag 4. At the rate we're going, I may pull up a microfighter. If we get this all done in time. Because one of these is a stand, and the stands don't take all that much. We'll pull up, maybe we'll start on that Partisan frigate that I was looking at last week. That'll be fun. I really quick threw together. I thought I had a model of just whatever the regular X-Wing was, the Microfighter X-Wing, and I didn't. So, and this is a perfect way if you haven't got into mocking or anything, making your own stuff. I will remind you, and I love telling people this, the easiest way to get into doing that is get a model that you like already or that you have built, but you're like, you know what? I don't like some of these colors. I don't like this piece being here. I think this piece would do better. Or maybe I do this version of this, or I add more flowers to it, or I add bigger trees, or change the windows. The best way to start doing that, to get into mocking, is to just change something that's already been built. A lot of people will say, I don't have the creativity to do what you do, to do your own models. And I'm like, it's not really about creativity. You can do your own thing too, you know? And it's as simple as just slightly changing something. And then from there, you get more comfortable doing it. And then from there, you can, we're just doing the other side now here. And from there, you can start using Studio to get back into doing your own models, or changing stuff up really easily. And the best example I have is there are so many Star Wars ships that come in different colors. They're the same thing, they're just different colors. It's the same thing as like a World War, or combat aircraft. They're going to be the same models for the most part wherever they are in the world, but your country is going to paint it differently than my country. So just go into the model and change it ever so subtly so that it reflects a different country or a flag. You can take plant models and change them to have more leaves or bigger stems, or you can make mosaics. I know a lot of people break into doing their own mocks by doing mosaics. And that you can do with a spreadsheet. You don't need a fancy piece of software. You don't need a super amount of creativity. You can just do a spreadsheet and fill in colors and then go, okay, this is the Lego pieces I need, So there's a lot of ways to get into it. They don't always have to be, you built this great looking alien holding a giant mace and it's posed really great. It's 12 inches tall and it has great part usage and everything, and it won an award at a convention. It's like, you don't have to. You do whatever makes you happy. And at the time, adjusting my builds and my Star Wars ship love into ships that they hadn't done yet, that's what made me happy. I wish I still had my Nebulon Ranger build. It was ungodly bad. It was so bad. It was also, I was making it with all the pieces I owned. And at the time, I didn't have a lot of pieces. I'd broken down most of the, because this would have been later than when Star Wars first came out. in Lego. This was probably 2006, 7. And so I had gotten a few other models by then, some pirates, some ships, stuff like that, that gave me a little bit of brown. But if you look up the ship online, let's do that real quick. Well, you can look it up on your own. Nebulon Ranger. It's from Tales of the Jedi, an old Dark Horse comic book. It is a brown ship. If you look at the original model that it was made off of, because there was an original model somebody made based off of that, and that kind of became the standard. It was almost a dark orange ship. Dark orange wasn't the color back then. So I assembled all the brown that I had, and I had to kind of fudge it a lot with dark gray and gray because I didn't have that much brown. So to that point, in that aspect, it was a great model because I just used what I had. Bricklink wasn't a thing. Studio wasn't a thing. It was pure build with what you got. So as far as that goes, that was a great experiment. Now I would do it totally different. I would pull up a bunch of different models and images of it online, and I would find one or two parts that looked like Lego pieces that I could use in the model, and I would start with that and kind of build around it, and then build something in studio. And then along the way, if it was a questionable bit of construction, I would build it in real life and see what happened, and then order all the parts, and Bob's your uncle. So, you know, wash, rinse, repeat. But yeah, back then that was a great part about pre-digital Lego stuff, is you just kind of did it on your own. And if you were doing digital stuff, it was really, really like cutting edge. You're using this CAD program that you had built with a database based off Lugnet or Piron or something like that, that had a database of Lego parts. So those were hardcore digital days if you were doing it that way. And of course, I still do this when I was building stuff back then. And this is just an artistic crybaby problem that I have, is I can't build something if somebody else has already done it. Like, I can't start working on a design for a thing if I've looked up, all right, let's do some research. Let's look at the model. Let's see what it looks like and how I can adapt it and all this, you know. And then seeing online that somebody's already built it. That bothers me. Not because I don't think I could do better, or because I don't think that their model is good. In most cases, if I find a model online, their model is exceptional. It's really, really good. And I don't want to take away from that person. So I try to be as original as I can with stuff, which means a lot of Star Wars stuff has already been done. Like, I'm not going to rebuild an X-Wing. Unless it's for my lug friend Michaela, who wanted a pink X-Wing, in which case I'll do that. But that's just, you know, Control A, change to pink. That's why that one Horizon model crushed me so much, because I was like, I'm the only one out here doing a frost claw. Like, I can understand a Thunderjaw and a tall neck and, you know, the kind of iconic Horizon Zero Dawn builds, but the fact that they did a frost claw, I'm like, really? And it was really good, and I'm like, god dang it, that's gonna stick with me for a while. And it did. Like, I still haven't gotten back into doing Horizon things. I haven't found the artistic, that's so nice, the artistic drive to go back in and want to do that again yet, because it's still kind of sitting with me. And that's, you know, that's the stupid artist person saying that. It doesn't make any sense. it's the same argument I make with Beth about her her anxiety about things that happen at work that she doesn't have any control over. I can say as much as I want about something, but it's not going to change the fact that she has anxiety over it. Oh, man down. Everybody's got their own neuroses. So what have you got, everybody got planned for the rest of today? What do you got going on the rest of the day? Are you actually doing any Star Wars things or Lego things, or you meeting friends? Are you relaxing because it's Sunday? I am mourning my Avalanche's premature elimination from the playoffs. Does not make me happy. The thing about the thing that sucks about the Avs, there was a big trade. This is going to get sports crunchy for a hot second, so I apologize to the non-sports ball people in the chat. But a couple months ago, there was a big trade. The Avs traded away one of their top players because they were in contract negotiations and the front office couldn't match what they wanted. So they traded away this guy for a couple other guys from Carolina, and then and some first round draft picks or second round draft picks or something. A lot of that stuff, as soon as it stops with the player and something to be named later, or and a salary cap thing or a GAP plus some money or something like that. As soon as it goes like this, I'm just like, burp. Have to stop over Lego store, pad wall, and do some building. Yeah, always good to do some building. So they made this trade, and everybody was stunned. Like, this was the weirdest thing, and everybody, all the Avalanche fans were like, what is going on? What are you doing? And then after a while, so we changed goalies. We got 2 new goalies in November and December, made this trade, and suddenly it was all clicking, right? Everybody was playing really well. The new people were producing. It looked like it was going to be a year that the Avs would win the cup. So everyone's like, oh, okay, well, this will be cool. So the new guys, okay, so this is where we're covering this up. This will be easy to take off at some point, right? You can take this off pretty easily and look underneath it, but it won't be super easy. So that's kind of covered up now. Oh, but that's nice. It's a good weight, good whatever. So the playoffs start, and these guys that we traded for suddenly stop producing pretty well. Like, they're just average players now. They aren't killing it like they were before, and even our star players are not doing great. And we're like, okay, well, but we still made the playoffs. We're playing Dallas. Oh, that's cool. It goes underneath there. And it goes to 7 games, right? Our star players aren't doing really well, but our third and fourth lines are doing great. We're getting occasional sparks of stuff from like our top defense and our second line and like all this stuff, right? It's all happening. But the player we traded to Carolina got traded to the Stars. So now one of the best players that the Avs had is playing against us. So it comes down to game 7, and we're up. The Avs are up 2 goals. It's 2-0 going into the third period, right? We're not saying we got this wrapped up, but a 2-goal lead in the third period is pretty good against a team that like we're not scoring well against for a while. So we're like, oh, this could be really good. We might move on to the second round. And then if we beat Dallas, then it's kind of like, then we're a walk in the park to get to the cup. In the third period, the guy we traded away to Carolina that then got traded to Dallas scored 3 goals. Got a hat trick in the third period. And we're out. And we now, the Avs, have lost more 7th game series, game 7 games in like NHL history or something. All this is happening on my phone while I'm watching Austin FC. I'm at the stadium trying to be a good supporter and chanting and whatever. And Austin FC is just also sucking really bad. So it was like, oh, the sports gods were not with us that day. I didn't realize this was a fiver. What are you building next, Scott? What's your next big project? What do you need parts for? Missy's not doing anything today. Just literally sitting in the middle of the floor, staring into the middle distance. Not doing anything today. Today I am occupying space. And this goes on the front. And tips in, and there you go. Good. Looks good. Looking good. Good, good, good. Still figuring that out a bit. Do you know what you want to work on, or are you just kind of like, I don't know what I want to build yet, but I need to go get pieces. I'll kind of build something based off these pieces? Or do you have something like, I want to build a big, I want to build a biplane, or I want to build a desert skate, or I want to build a robot? Like, do you have something in mind for like the, is this going to be for a convention, or are you just looking for something to do? Kind of, you'll figure it out when you get to it. I'll know it when I see it. Oh, something from Andor. Okay, cool. I have a feeling that the way you do stuff, and this is just based off your videos, you would be good doing small chunks of scenes from the movie, or like adapting. You could do like the not the massacre, but the protest at Ferrex, I think might be cool. Just like a crossroads with like, is it the well or whatever in the middle, and then have like all the workers and all the Imperial troops and like all different buildings around the side of it. Throw in some characters here, throw in B2 and whatever his name was, the guy, the big guy. Have Cyril floating around there somewhere. You need to go small. You could do the safe house. You could do the safe room, the safe house that Bix and Andor are in. What else is happening? I'm trying not to spoil much, because I'm sure everybody's seen it by now, but... Ooh, nice pieces. Look at these nice pieces. I like how there's like a little divot. There's just a slight depression on the top of that tile. You can't even really see it. It won't even focus on it. Anyway, it's in the instructions. There's this little bitty like line right here on the top of these tiles. Where my mouse is. It makes it look like little eyes or something. And before I even put this on the ship, this looks like it could be a little robot. That could be like a little droid of some kind. Let's see, what scenes could you do? You could get a bunch of wheat. You could get a bunch of pieces that are like the Technic pins like this that are tan and stick them on a bunch of bars on a field. And you get what's his name on a speeder bike and a bunch of stormtroopers. And that's a scene. I need to do something Castle D&D mix. Okay. I know so little about D&D. I know enough to where like I could spin up a character and play it, but that's kind of it. I'm not a, it's not rules lawyer, but I'm not really good at remembering all the ins and outs of my character and like what's available to do while I'm playing that character. Consequently, I end up being like a warrior or a fighter that does very little. I don't have to like spend my off time, you know, relearn or reloading spells or healing other people or doing certain things. I just kind of like, and then my character is never really the smartest person, so I don't have to sit there and go, okay, I've got to figure out how to talk to this guy, and then I've got to figure out what he's saying, and you know, I just show up and beat up things, which means the downtime is really boring for me. And I've only ever played really in like 2 campaigns, but one of the campaigns that we never even finished, it went on for like 2 years. Like it was intense. I have Voss, Obi-Wan, and Ventress. You could do the pool. Voss, Obi-Wan, and Ventress. So Quinlan Voss and Obi-Wan were in a scene where they were going after Bane, and it was all those pillars, right? And Bane had the rocket jetpack boots, or the jet boots, and Voss and Obi-Wan were like jumping after him. It was all misty and stuff. The pool. What pool scene? That I'm not familiar with. Oh, it's Tales of the Underground. That's right. That dropped today. Shoot. I forgot that came out today. Well, I know what I'm doing after this. Except I'm going out for Barks for Beers. I know what I'm doing tonight. I love that Ventress is back. Yeah, that bugged me that like, hey, if you play Star Wars Fortnite, you go into like a thing and there's a screen and you could watch Tales of the Underground. I'm like, come on, really? But I'll probably watch it after this because I don't know exactly when we're gonna go Barks for Beering. But so I may like right as we're done with this go and watch it. Ooh, they're even doing the undersides a little bit. Very cool. I am super happy that Ventress is back from, you know, having her stint in the Bad Batch. And but I'm a little like, I didn't read her story with Quinlan Voss, where she and Quinlan Voss were like kind of lovers, but also like smugglers. Like it was a comic book or something, or a book novelization. And I'm kind of like, are you guys retconning that? Because I thought that came out post Disney takeover, which means it should be like canon. So I don't know like what that's going to be about. There. But I like her character. I'm glad she's getting more time. That also means hopefully we get a minifigure of her and whatever. She's dead. They carry her into a resting pool. Are you spoilering it for me? I mean, I know she was dead. I thought she died in the book. And that was a thing. So seeing her in the Bad Batch was kind of like, so is this pre when she died? Because there was like the timeline of when the book was and the Bad Batch. So were they redoing it? Were they bringing her back? Like, what's going on? But I want to do a microfighter of her ship from the Bad Batch. So hopefully, because Tales of the Underground or Underworld has come out, that they will sort of yeah. I haven't seen it yet. Oh, she dies at the end. I just said I haven't seen it yet. This is a great little bit of like undercarriage. Lego rarely does that, like finishes out the underside of it. It's not a ton, but it's still better than nothing. If you look at it side on, it looks really good. You know, that's really great. All right, next bit is the stand. I didn't miss anything, did I? I have a lot of gray pieces left here. Okay. Stand. Do we have a brick? We don't have like a, there it is. Printed tile, home one Star Cruiser. Which is funny because I think, okay, it's the first scene. So that must be them going, okay, we know she died in the book. That must be how she died in the book, is the cartoon. So maybe it's, I'm not going to ask you to tell me more about it, but maybe it's a flashback, or maybe it's, she didn't really die. Somehow her night sister, something about her night sisters bringing her back. Something, I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna go watch it immediately after this. But like I was saying, I need to get her a new figure for her, and I'm excited that they will do that. Hopefully. Also, Quinlan Voss would be a really great figure to have too. I don't know that we got one of him. I kind of don't know why they would, because he was like in one episode of Clone Wars and died. So yeah, she's been, which is kind of weird because it's like, I don't know, I have to look at the timeline. There was hope that they were bringing her back somehow, but I'm glad it's like, we're just, but I mean, isn't Cad Bane dead and we're watching that too? Hey, good morning. Happy Star Wars Day. You're not going to want to wear that shirt today. Why? They got their ass kicked last night. Oh, yeah, it's a cute shirt though. I like it. Yeah. You've been up for an hour and a half and couldn't get out of bed. Narcolepsy sucks. Narcolism is the compulsion to tell on people. Oh, there is a Voss figure. Is there really? Voss Lego. Yeah, look at that. Was he trying to see if he was part of like a giveaway or something? Oh, he was in, yeah, I never got that set. He was in a turbo tank. Wow. From 9 years ago. That's a set. That was kind of, if there was a dark ages to my Lego buying, I think it was right about then. Like I wasn't getting a ton of Star Wars stuff. Still getting Lego things, but not a ton. That's kind of when we started dating. So I wasn't buying a whole lot. Mostly because I didn't have room. And the place I was staying at didn't have a whole lot of room. Yeah, it looks like a good figure. That's a solid figure. He doesn't have a vehicle or anything, so I don't need to get him. But it'd be cool to get. Beth, you're awake just in time to get ready to go to Barks for Beers. Okay. To wake up. Well, you can text him now. I'm almost done. Hey man, you're the one who wants to invite everybody at all times. I know. But keep in mind, Barks for Beers is notoriously, well, we gotta wait for them to show up. Then we gotta wait for them to show up. Yeah. Snagged him on Mercari. I've got to look at Mercari more often. I know it's not like perfect all the time. And some of the stuff is like just as easily obtainable elsewhere. But I still want to get a UCS Y-Wing. I don't care which version. And I don't mind getting it used. So my thing is I want to try to see if I could get it, or if I could just get the tile for it and then just start parting it out. I've got a lot of parts, and it wouldn't be a problem to start sorting it out and just buy what's left over. I wouldn't mind doing that at all. I don't need the kit. I get the instructions online. I need the fun stuff. All right, take care, Scott. I appreciate you stopping by. Have a good Sunday. Hope to see you again soon. Keep doing what you're doing with your videos. They're great. And this, with its got an open section there, goes right on this little circle. Just like that. You can press down pretty good because there's nothing on top. And they do that because you're going to flip this over and put on all these little conning towers and observation decks. Unless we're building the... I think there's a Nebulon frigate that's going to be attached to this, and I don't know if that's what's coming up next or not. Yeah, so I may want to go back and read it's been on my list, the book with Voss and we were just talking about her. Yeah. Brain just is cottage cheese now. Ventress. That was a struggle. This is the Nebulon frigate, I can already tell you. This is EF. I can barely read that. The EF-76 Nebulon B escort frigate serves as a combat hospital for the Rebel Alliance. If you need an extra hand, this is where Luke got his very new cybernetic one. Tactile sensitivity. Oh, we're still upside down. All right. That's how big this ship is. That's your Nebulon B. I would have liked a little more bottom on that, but you get the idea how big that is. These are massive, massive ships. I think they're like 1.3 kilometers in length. Some ice skates as conning tower pieces, which is super cool. Good use of that. Viewports. Star Wars also always tends to, because coolness, I guess, put their bridges way out in the open, like on these big things. And it always bothered me that they were just hanging out there. I'm like, why don't you just shoot that? And I know they have shields and stuff, but at the same time, I'm like, just shoot that thing. Oh, this is different. Okay. This goes here. There's another one that goes up here. And I think we're done. I think that's it. Yay. So there's your MC-80A Home 1 Mon Calamari Star Cruiser. Pretty good build, I will say. And if we take this section off, I think we can just take that section off. Pretty easily see the inside of it. It's a really good look. This is a good size. If you can get it on sale now for like 55 bucks. Oh yeah, I'm with you, Aries. That was brutal. I was telling everybody earlier that I was at the game, trying to be a good supporter, even ladder when we're down. And I was watching the Avs on my phone, and they were winning up until like midway through the third period, and then they lost 4-2, where there's an empty net. Let me go get a couple other of these as comparison, and then if I can find it, I'll go get my microfighter. So hang on just a second. Okay, so in comparison to a couple recent and notable ships, so this is your size. Oh, let's get the so the scale is what gets me to. Some of these scales are way off. So this is another, it's MIDI scale, but I'll show you why I think that's kind of a misnomer here in a second. So this is the Corellian Corvette, and this came out late last year, middle last year, something like that. I haven't had together very long, so not long. judging by the level of dust on this and this other one. But this is a few more pieces, I feel like. It's definitely larger, but maybe not as dense. There's a lot more smaller pieces on this because you're differentiating slopes and you've got some tiles in here and stuff like that to give it that rounded thing. This can be very square and can be very simple, right? A lot of bigger pieces. So probably fewer pieces, probably about $60 if I remember correctly. Well, yeah, so it looks big because they're just trying to get a set size. MIDI scale is like vibes, right? There's a Millennium Falcon one too that's like this big, right? It's huge compared to this. So to give you an idea, a Corellian Corvette would probably be about that size compared to this Home One, right? It's not very big, right? Because that's your Nebulon B frigate over there. And Corvettes are like half the size of that, if that. So that's the scale we're looking at. Here's your Nebulon B frigate, which is this ship right here, right? So this is probably, you know, this is a 1.3 kilometers. This is probably 400 or 500, maybe 200-300 meters. Like, I think this needs to be, I think, a little bigger. Like, I think this needs twice that size, maybe. But these things are massive. So that's the scale. Here's another recent set that was superiorly overpriced, but I still got it. This needs to be about $40, and it was like $60 or something. Like, you can see the difference in just, like, again, vibes style. This one was a lot better than I thought it would be build-wise. Like, the build techniques and the quality of how it was nice and rounded, very pleasing to put together. Like, highly recommend it. But it is at $80, a little overpriced. I would get it at 50, 40 if you can find it, but 50 at least. So yeah, good quality, good printed tile versus what we got with the Comic-Con exclusive, which didn't have a printed tile. That was a sticker that I didn't put on. But all the MIDI stuff since then has had a printed tile for the name. So the other MIDI set that came out recently, the MIDI scale size, was the Kylo Ren's shuttle, and it's $80 right now, and there's no way. It's 35 or it's 350 pieces, and there's no way I'm getting a 350 piece microfighter or a MIDI scale fighter. All right, so these go over here. I've got a microfighter here that I'm going to try to get back together so you can see. Oh, it's missing a dot. This goes over here. So this was one of the harder microfighters, and I came back and had to redo it because it was it's hard to get into like the bulbous shape that it was. And I don't think I did this too well, but I think that broke. And I have a Nebulon frigate here too. I don't remember how these went, but so I tried to do little stands for each of them. So that's the, yeah, these clips are bad. This is my microfighter version of this ship. And it also has like a mini fleet underneath it with a Nebulon frigate and then a couple GR-75 transports or indications of that. But you can see it's at that size, it's really hard to like, these could have been dark tan instead of just tan. I might change that up. But it's hard to get that to be rounded. You know, Lego doesn't do rounded very well. They do better now. Did these like stretch out? Is that what it was? There we go. That's better. And getting that many thrusters on the back, you know. So I think it turned out well. I think all of these are great. I think mini scale or MIDI scale is really good. I enjoy it. It's good display. It's good build. Mostly a good cost. It can be a little overpriced, especially for Star Wars. But I hope they do more of these. There's a lot more ships they could do, capital ships. But they're going to start having to get into lore a little bit. Like I would love a Venator. There's another CIS ship from the Clone Wars that would be great. The Invisible Hand would be really good. They just have the one CIS ship now. They could do a lot. They could do like the Ebon Hawk. They could do the Outrider. I'm trying to think of like frigate style stuff that was pretty popular. They could do a GR-75. It would be smaller in size than even the Corvette. I think it's about half the size of a Corvette. But just think of like the cool clamshell and like building all those cargo boxes on the bottom of it. I think that'd be really fun to build and find out what it's not a cool looking ship. It's pretty iconic for like Empire Strikes Back. But I think it'd be cool to see what they do with the build techniques for it. So, well, that's all I can do now. We got about 5 minutes left, but I'm going to cut it a little short. So I appreciate you coming by. If you're here, thank you for stopping by and keeping me company. Happy May the 4th to you. Go watch a Star War or build some Lego or, have some fun with friends today. And we'll get back into doing some either Microfighter stuff or Horizon stuff on Thursday, I think. Let me make sure I'm here on Thursday. I always say that, and then I have to double check. Yes, no games or anything on Thursday, so I will be back this Thursday to 8 p.m. Central. You guys take care, have a good one, and I'll talk to you later.